Hey guys, what's going on? Underground Geek here. Now I told you I would do a video on this book, so here it is. And after reading it, I don't really know what I think about it. The fact is I don't like when characters are written too mature for their age. It doesn't really flow that well. Now, I understand when kids have to grow up quickly. I understand that. But at the same time, it's just a little strange when you hear like just really mature conversations coming out of little people's mouths. So that just messes with me some. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It just messes with the cohesiveness of the story to me. Now, I say that, but I watch a lot of anime, and there's usually like a 15-year-old kid there that talks like an adult. So, you know, it's how you take it. This is still a pretty good story, though. This is called The Wicked Righteous, and it's a 6-issue limited series. And like I said, this is one of my number ones that I bought. You could buy like so many number ones for like $16. It's by Alterna Comics, which is great. They're only $1.50. And this genre is thriller. Now, I wouldn't really say it was too much of a thriller. I would say it's more of an action drama, but it's still real good. Now, this is on the premise of a great disease, a great pandemic, a great rapture that they call it. So it's using that premise. And then you've got all these kids that are left. And so we start out with the parents here. They're dying. They don't have much time left. And so the dad gives a speech to the kids, which are Johnny, Matt, Lucas, and Mark, of what they need to expect. They're about to be on their own. They're about to be all by themselves. So they need to be ready for what's happening. And he gives them a very biblical speech. It says, if you stay on the path of the righteous, then one day we will all be together again. It says, the good book says, wolves will live with the lamb, the leopard with the goat, the calf and the lion will dwell together. So he's telling them to be very careful in this life, to be very careful with what's going on. Don't trust people if they seem sketchy. It's by Terry Mayo, and the art's by Lucas Romero, and the colorist is Christopher Hill. And so now we're 2 years later in San Diego, and this is Lucas. You can always tell the main character because he always has this certain haircut. You know, you can tell that one's the smart one, that one's the youngster, and this is the pragmatic one, the one that's always trying to give speeches to everyone. So pretty much, Lucas is visiting this place. He visits it every day, and he leaves food for somebody. And there she is, she's hiding. She doesn't trust him. She's hiding from him. She says, see you tomorrow, Lucas. And so he's making his way down pretty much the apocalypse. There's some crazy stuff going on. They're like hanging up dead people, taking them places. I don't know if they're eating them or what's going on. He's breaking into a pharmacy. He's breaking into a pharmacy to try to find an inhaler for one of his brothers, I think. So, look, this kid's wearing Crocs. That's so 2007. So then he accidentally shoots this boy in the side of the neck. He didn't hear him coming. And so they start talking to each other. Now, I don't really know how old he is. I'm thinking he's like 14 or 15, maybe 15 or 16. This kid's 13 because he tells you how old he is. Now, what gets me is how quickly this youngster starts talking to the big kid like they're best friends. It weirds me out a little bit. But they start talking. There's obviously some kind of martial law going on. There's these drones flying around telling them, it says, attention citizens, the time is 1900. All unauthorized travel outside the safety zone is now prohibited. So they shut it down at a certain point. So he's sitting there talking to him. He doesn't have matching Crocs. He's just got some shoes you can throw on. He's reading the Playboy, but they cut the Y off for licensing purposes. and it's pretty funny. Asks him what erotic asphyxiation is. He's like, I'm going to sleep. And you can tell that this 13-year-old is troubled. Okay, he's not quite right. And so then it gets really weird, because all of a sudden he's like calling him the B word and all that stuff, and says, tell me you're not afraid of those stupid China drones. It's fine, princess. I'll stay up and protect you tonight. He says, thanks, I feel safer already. I mean, they just start talking to each other. It's a little fast-paced for me. So, of course, he's having a dream about this girl. Now, what I don't really understand is, you know, they always do this in movies and books. He's never seen this girl. So, how does he know what she looks like to have an erotic dream about her? But, you know, it's kind of like when I was watching Jurassic Park 3, and he sees the feathered velociraptor that scares him in his nightmare, but he hasn't seen those velociraptors yet, so he would just see a regular velociraptor. It's little things like that that are funny. But it wouldn't make sense if it was like some random blonde girl or something, you know, it wouldn't make sense to the story, so I get it. But he's having a dream about her, and then he sees the boy, and he's like, neither of you are going anywhere ever. And so he wakes up, and the boy's standing over him. He's like, ah! He says, any longer, and who knows, some psycho could have heard you, because he was whimpering in his sleep. He says, sucks for you, bro. Should be safe to travel soon. What's the next stop? And he says, well, I need to go home, and I hate to tell you, but you're not coming with me. I can't take you. And he goes, are you kidding me? There's a lot of cursing in this book. It kind of gets on my nerves because they're all kids. But you see the evil look on that boy's face when he tells him he can't come with him, which made me really weird, because I was like, why is he all of a sudden like grabbing onto him like, you're taking me with you? I mean, I don't, but I kind of understand that's part of his personality, because he's really weird and like really attached and clingy really quickly. He says, F you and F your effing promises. You tried to kill me. You think and I'm sorry makes us even? He says, not even close, mother effer. You hear me? And I was like, my God, the mouth on this kid. He says, goodbye, Billy. And he says, I've got a promise for you, Lucas. You'll regret this. And I was like, what the crap? So there's Captain Canuck. Tell me if this series is good. That's a pretty good cover, but that doesn't always mean that something's good. But Captain Canuck is pretty much like Captain Canada. So there's the drones again. There's Lucas traveling. And then he hears his name being called. There's the rest of the family. And they've got this family friend now that's taking care of them that knew the dad. And he's got a mohawk for some reason, because it's the apocalypse and you have to have a mohawk. So they're all talking. They're all discussing what's been going on. You have the pragmatic brother that's, you know, giving the long speech about do's and don'ts. He's very into what his dad told him about the Bible and everything, and Lucas is rebelling against that. So they decided to go back and get the boy, because he really felt bad about leaving that boy there. And then when he gets back, they're spray painting stuff all over the wall. It says, hate you, Lucas. Watch your back. And he says, you certainly made an impression on this kid. How old did you say he was? He said, old enough to be dangerous, is what the other brother says. He says, it looks like we dodged a bullet with this kid. Good thing, too. And then that's when they hear someone running, and it's that girl from earlier. And she's running from these bunch of gang members. And he said, hold on, we'll all go, but we need a plan. He says, wait, Lucas. So he pretty much runs after the girl because, you know, he's in love with her pretty much. I mean, he's a young kid. He sees the girl being attacked. He's going after her. So that's when I figured out he had kind of seen her before, but it was weird because I was like, how has he seen her, but she's hiding from him? You know, it's little things like that that kind of mess with you. So at this point, they've got her tied up. They beat her. And that's when we learned that she actually had a bounty on her, and these guys have been looking for her to take her to whoever needs her. And I was like, well, that's really weird. And he says, that was really the best thing I've ever seen. I can't wait to tell the rest of the boys she kicked your tail. And he said, best day of my, oh crap. And that's when they see the team there. They all got their guns. They got some P90s. He's got a shotgun. I guess he's got some kind of pistol. I can't see. Of course, Lucas has got his hood up. He's being all bad A. And this is when they give that weird little speech. He said, the fact that we're pointing guns at you probably puts a damper on our relationship. So believe me when I say we don't want to hurt you. I hope you believe it. And I was like, that's a little weird because you're like a little kid. But I don't know, it could be 17 or 18. So pretty much they have him held up, but then they didn't check their 6, is what he said. And Lucas gets shot in the back 3 times. And I was like, well, great, you just killed the main character. Good job. So that's when he's like, yeah, I shot him, yeah. And then pretty much the gunfight breaks out. There's someone else has now showed up and is shooting all the bad guys. And then a van, the guy pulls up with a van and runs the kids over. They're trying to steal the girl. And that's when there's more shots fired again. And then we finally see Lucas, so he's not dead, in fact, because I would just hung the book up. But so then the bad guy's got the girl, of course, and he says, I'll kill her, I swear. And then the guy shows up behind him, and kablamo. He dead. And he says, God didn't kill you, son, I did. So Blade just showed up and killed him, and or is that Luke Cage? And he says, the Fury of the Fox is the next issue. So I'm wondering what's going on, because they said something about it kicked Fox's butt, and this is the Fury of the Fox. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on with that, but it's a pretty interesting book. It's probably not my favorite, but it's pretty interesting, and I like the whole young love story going on there. It's very funny to me, and we'll see how it goes. I would definitely check it out. It's definitely geared toward, I don't really know who it's geared toward because it's got such bad language, but the story is very young based. So I guess you could have it anywhere, and it says mature readers. So you may like it. Now these books are printed on newspaper paper or newspaper print, so they feel different. And I saw an advertisement where they used putty and put the putty on there like you would a newspaper, and then they wrote it up and it had the image on there, so that was kind of fun. But I definitely like all the stories that they do, all the multiple stories going on. This kid's going to be a problem, I can tell you that right now. Look at that face. That's every villain in an anime ever. But yeah, definitely check it out. I think you'll like it. If you're already reading it, let me know how it goes, if it gets any better. I like all the aspects of the different brothers. The different brothers feel very much like the Ninja Turtles to me. You know, you've got each brother that has their thing, and they're good at it. But I'll talk to you guys later. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, make sure you're subscribed. Check out my apparel in the comment section, and also if you would like to support me on my maker support, all of that money is going towards my new comic book that I'm writing, so any of the support would be great. Talk to you guys later. Underground Geek out.